Representative Gooch, Representative Justice, Representative Lewis,
Here.
Representative McPherson,
Here.
Representative Rorix,
Here.
Representative Roberts,
Here.
Representative Rudy, Representative Smith, Representative Stevenson, Vice Chair Lockett,
Here.
Vice Chair Pollock,
Here.
Chairman Meredith.
Yes, ma'am. We do have a quorum and are duly constituted to do business today. We are going to take the bills a little out of order on the agenda today. I do see my good friend Senator Storm from over in the Senate. If you would come forward, we'll call Senate Bill 29 first. Please introduce yourself for the record and introduce your guests, and then you may proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Brandon Storm, Senator of the 21st District.
Eric DeCampos, National Insurance Crime Bureau.
Mr. Chairman, there is a House Committee substitute, if I'm not mistaken.
There is. Got a motion on the sub from Representative Lewis, second Representative Pollock. If you could do just a little bit of explanation of what the difference is in the sub and the original bill, we'd appreciate that, Senator.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So Senate Bill 29 with the House Committee substitute is a consumer protection measure that is designed to protect Kentuckians from insurance fraud relating to automobile windshield claims primarily. The House Committee substitute does have a minor tweak that was negotiated between the insurance industry and KJA, or otherwise known as Kentucky Justice Association. That is the only tweak to the committee sub. We worked on this bill with a wide range of folks: Kentucky Farm Bureau, the Insurance Institute of Kentucky, the National Insurance Crime Bureau, Kentucky Justice Association, SafeLight.
I already have a motion and a second on the sub. Just wanted him to get the difference in the sub versus the original bill. All in favor of the sub, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The sub is before us. And you can, if you've got anything else, you can go on.
Sure. I was just going to mention that there is no known opposition. All the stakeholders are here in the room. They've all negotiated on this.
I have a motion from Representative Pollock on the bill as amended by the committee substitute, a second from Representative Lockett. Any questions from members of the committee? You're going to get off easy, Senator. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative All,
Aye.
Representative Bentley, Representative Bray, Representative Duval,
Yes.
Representative Frazier Gordon, Representative Gooch, Representative Justice, Representative Lewis,
Yes.
Representative Lockett, Representative McPherson,
Yes.
Representative Pollock,
Yes.
Representative Rorix,
Yes.
Representative Roberts, Representative Rudy, Representative Smith, Representative Stevenson, Chairman Meredith.
Aye. Chairman Gooch, that was actually a vote on the bill, not the quorum call. So do you want to vote a yes or a no on that? This is the Senate Bill 29, which is the auto glass.
Yes, I just came here just to vote for that bill.
Okay. That's a yes. Motion does pass with favorable expression. Same shit on the House floor. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you for the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the committee.
Next bill we will call is House Bill 357. Representative Lewis, if you would come to the table. If you've got guests, please introduce yourselves and them for the record. Then you all may proceed with your testimony on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Derek Lewis, representing the 90th District, proudly representing Leslie, Clay, and Laurel counties.
My name's Chris Lee. I am with the National Shooting Sports Foundation. NSSF is the trade association for the firearm industry. So we represent about 10,500 companies and businesses in the firearm industry across the country.
This bill does as well have a committee substitute. Got a motion from Representative Frazier, second Representative Lockett. I did a lot of the work on the substitute, so I guess I can explain what the difference in the sub was. The original language was language that came to us that the bankers in the state had a little bit of concern about. We worked together with them, with the Shooting Sports Foundation, the NRA, the credit card groups, and everyone else involved as stakeholders to try to come up with something that worked on this for everyone. and that is the product of the sub before you. It also mirrors language that's being introduced at the federal level by Kentucky Congressman Andy Barr on this issue soon. So that is what the sub does. We do have a motion and a second on the sub. All in favor of having the sub before us, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The sub is before us, and you may proceed with your testimony on the rest of the bill.
Thank you, Chairman. So as the Chairman referenced, we've been working on this bill for quite a while. This was actually me and Michael and Josh Bray. We all worked on this last year, thanks to a lot of help because of Josh and AC over there. And at the time, this was still being introduced in several states. And so speaking to stakeholders, we waited to work out compromise language. And we've worked on this language for about a year and a half. And as you can see, there's nobody testifying against the bill. But for some background, in September 2022, the International Standards Organization announced the creation of a merchant category codes for gun retailers. So merchant category codes are used by credit card companies to categorize transactions. They allow credit card companies to collect data on certain types of transactions. Before the ISO announced the decision, firearm retailers fell under the MCC for sporting goods or miscellaneous retail. And it should be noted that this bill does not apply, or this code does not apply to big box chain stores, but instead targets independent gun stores, small businesses. 7 states have enacted this legislation so far, and as of January, 18 states, including Kentucky, have introduced language. So today, I don't know, Chris, do you want to give kind of a little bit of background on the national side of things?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Thanks for the opportunity to speak here today. So when we found out in September of 2022 that this firearm retail code was going to be implemented, the first thing that we thought of was that this could be used to create a list of people that own guns, just based on people that go to gun shops. If you go to a gun shop regularly or at all, I think there's an assumption that you're a gun owner. And a lot of people don't know that the federal government is legally prohibited from maintaining a list of people that own guns. This is why gun retailers have to maintain their records essentially indefinitely, so if there needs to be a trace, there can be a trace. But the federal government's legally prohibited from having a list, and there were these activist groups that don't like that. They really want there to be a list of people out there that own guns. And so they are the ones, these activist groups, worked to have this code approved. And they worked from 2018 to 2022 to get this organization in Switzerland to approve this code. And in 2022, when the code was approved, we were like, can we ban this in the state? Is that allowed? So we started to work with the credit card networks and other financial institutions, and we found out, yes, states can ban certain merchant category codes. It's never really had to be done before because these codes have never been weaponized like this. Like, who cares if you're going to a gas station or you're going to a grocery store? Most people don't care to keep a list of people that go to gas stations. But just based on the activist groups that were behind this code, we knew that their intents were, it wasn't meant to be used for traditional business reasons. It was meant to be used to target people. So as Representative Lewis mentioned, 7 states, really between March and June of last year when states were in session, and the bill started to be introduced in March. By June, 7 states had banned the code within their borders. This year already, 18 states have introduced the bill, and it's moving quickly through a lot of states.
Motion on the bill.
Motion, Representative Frazier Gordon. A second, Representative McPherson. I do have a couple of questions from members of the committee. First, Representative Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have just a couple of questions, if that is allowable. I'd like to first ask, can it be distinguished what was purchased at a particular merchant under a merchant code? For example, if I go to Kroger Marketplace and I buy food, clothes, and stamps, is that merchant code distinguishable on what was individually purchased at the store, or does it just identify the location of which products were purchased?
You know, in my research, I would say it's not. However, if you look in other states, attorney generals, namely in New York and California, have implied that they could. So to be honest with you, Representative Rourke, I don't know. I wouldn't think so. Chris, do you have anything to expand on that?
Yes, those attorney generals in those states were attorneys general. They were mistaken when they said that, and I think we've gotten clarification from the credit card networks that no, these codes cannot be used to identify individual items purchased. So whether somebody's buying a gun safe for $2,000 or a firearm for $1,000, you don't know what they're buying at the firearm retail shop.
So I think that gets to my point that if I went to a gun store today and I made a purchase and it did have a merchant code attached to my credit card, that, I mean, I could have purchased a holster, I could have purchased a gun, I could have purchased ammunition, I could have purchased a nice recreational magazine. And I think that's an important distinction to make, that merchant codes don't ultimately create a pattern of that you have purchased a weapon necessarily. It just shows that you have made a purchase at a store. So I just have further questions of how that particular information could be, quote, weaponized against an individual. One follow-up, if I may, Mr. Chair. So I find it interesting that I think it was mentioned this hasn't been used in terms of before excluding a certain merchant code from our laws, although that we did learn that we could do it. What other industries have this protection in place right now? Are there any others?
I'm not sure of any other industries that have this sort of privacy protection in place, but like I kind of alluded to, I don't think that this code has ever been used to politically target people, so I don't think there's maybe ever been a reason to ban it. That would be my response.
And Representative, I'll just add to it, that doesn't mean that it doesn't warrant in other industries, and if that's something that you're interested in, I'd be happy to work on it with you.
Thank you. And just one last brief comment I wanted to make. So in terms of tracking of purchases and fears that government may be learning about what purchasing behavior may exist, I mean, of course, we have market research out there that has data already about people's consumer habits and things that is based on a variety of factors. I'm not sure how the bill protects against that, those types of market researches, data that we already have. But also, I would just like to point out that typically when people like to be anonymous on the things that they buy, there's been the age-old habit of purchasing in cash. And so I do not understand, again, the need for this legislation, given that if somebody would like to remain anonymous, then you could just do so by purchasing whatever product that you wish, whether it be this industry or another industry. You could just pay for such in cash. So I ultimately don't necessarily understand the need for the legislation at this time, given that this has not been something that has been an issue. It's something that we're trying to be proactive about. And I have a lot of concerns when legislation looks for problems as opposed to trying to solve problems that already exist. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, can we respond to that real
Sure.
quick?
So I understand that this seems like a hypothetical situation here in Kentucky, but we've seen an imminent threat across the country. California has actually mandated this code already for firearm retail stores. Colorado is moving a bill very quickly to mandate it. New York has mandated it. And just in December, 48 members of the U.S. Senate sent a letter to the major financial institutions in the United States saying, will you implement the code in states where it hasn't been banned? So there's a continual push to force this on the financial sector, and that's the need for the bill.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Chairman. My colleague got to the crux of most of my questions, but I'd like to ask them in a slightly different way and see if we can get some more clarity. So are there any other examples of these kinds of merchant category codes that you can give us in the state of Kentucky currently?
There are a variety of codes out there. And that's not to say that some of these merchant codes don't have benefits. I know calculation and issuance of credit card rewards factor into that. It can also be used for tax reporting, but as for the specifics, I'm not sure. I'm mainly just focused on these codes here.
One follow-up, if I may. So probably there are some other codes. Are you aware, perhaps, of any others that we specifically exclude?
No, Representative.
Okay. Permission to speak on the bill? I understand your attention, and I'd like to thank the sponsor for speaking to me one-on-one last night about this bill. I have concerns about this. I understand your intention, but I think the real crux of the issue here is that there are organizations that are working to try and pass some common sense gun reform, and I feel like this bill is the antithesis of that in some ways. And because of those concerns that I have, I'll be a no on this bill today. But again, I do appreciate your time discussing it with me.
Thank you.
Any other questions from members of the committee? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative All,
No.
Representative Bentley,
Yes.
Representative Bray, Representative Duval,
Yes.
Representative Frazier Gordon, Representative Gooch, Representative Justice, Representative Lewis,
Yes.
Representative Lockett,
Yes.
Representative McPherson,
Yes.
Representative Pollock,
Yes.
Representative Rorix,
No.
Representative Roberts,
No.
Representative Rudy, Representative Smith, Representative Stevenson, Chairman Meredith.
Yes. Motion does pass with favorable expression. Same shit on the House floor. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here, and thank you for your presentation on the bill.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the committee.
I will turn the chair over to Representative Pollock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As Chairman Meredith is headed to the table, Madam Secretary, would you please record the perfect attendance by the newest member of Banking and Insurance, Representative Rudy?
And if I might, before he begins, I would like to record a not voting on the Senate bill that we heard earlier today.
Okay. Thank you. Sponsor, please introduce yourself, and you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Michael Meredith, State Representative for the 19th House District, representing Edmonson County and Warren County. The bill that you have before you today deals with universities purchasing insurance coverage. In 2018, former Representative Pam Carney passed
Motion on the bill.
Second.
Good motion. Is that you, Tom? Did you move? Yeah, that'd be fine. Okay.
Second.
Motion's on the bill by Representative Tom O'Neill Smith. Second by Odell Smith O'Neill. Second by Matt Lockett. Any questions from the committee? Sorry. Second by Representative Roberts.
It's a question.
Second by me.
You're killing it, Sarge. Killing it.
Question on the floor for Representative Roberts.
Chair, it's perhaps never been more important and obvious how valuable of a member you are of this committee than it is
I
right this moment.
appreciate that, lady.
And while we all have great faith in the bills that you bring forward, this is a complicated bill. So I appreciate the second in the motion, but I, for one, would really like to hear more about the substance of this bill, please.
Sure, and I'm happy to explain that further. As I said, as I was starting to say, universities currently buy their insurance through the State Fire and Tornado Insurance Fund, which is housed at the Finance and Administration Cabinet. In 2018, former Representative John Bam Carney passed legislation, House Bill 592, that allowed the universities to buy from other sources. However, when that bill was passed, it had such a restrictive covenant in how it would have to be implemented that there's nobody in the private marketplace that can actually support the kind of coverage that is being placed currently with Finance Administration through the State Fire and Tornado Fund. This bill will open that up, but it does put parameters out there still, and the parameters are based on the buying system that has been created for our K through 12 public school institutions in them procuring their insurance because they don't buy from the state, they buy in the individual or in the private marketplace. And so this just opens that up. The two main things that it changes is previously you had to give a 6-month notice to the State Fire and Tornado Insurance Fund to get out. This would be 60 days. And that is because no insurance carrier is going to provide you a quote that they can hold for 6 months. 60 days is about the longest they can go on that. And the other major piece of that is that the old language said the coverage had to be commensurate. And what we see in the State Fire and Tornado Insurance Fund is very, very low deductible plans. And so this would allow larger deductibles and allow them to manage their risk and also manage what their premiums are going to be. The real need for this came this year when we passed the budget a few weeks ago. And I have the outline here for each university and for KCTCS, but there was a 151% increase in the amount of premium paid to the State Fire and Tornado Insurance Fund just by the universities in the fund. That equated to $31 million from our university budgets going into that fund. And this is just a way, again, for them to look at other options. It doesn't say they have to get out of the State Fire and Tornado Fund. It just gives them the option to look out into the private marketplace and see if there's a product that can provide adequate coverage for them at a lower cost.
Representative All.
Thank you, Chairman. Are the universities on board with this legislation? Have you talked to universities? Are they supportive?
The universities have been consulted with this, and obviously because of the fact that it's optional, that they can stay in or get out, they are supportive of the efforts. I don't know that they're going to take a high-profile step out there on it, but they wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity for them to stay in or get back in if they got out and decide they want to get back in, and we provided that in this bill. And so they are generally supportive.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? So we have a motion by Representative Smith, second by Representative Lockett. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative All,
Yes.
Representative Bentley, Representative Bray, Representative Duval,
Yes.
Representative Frazier Gordon, Representative Gooch, Representative Justice, Representative Lewis,
Yes.
Representative Lockett,
Yes.
Representative McPherson,
Yes.
Representative Pollock,
Yes.
Representative Rorix,
Yes.
Representative Roberts,
Yes.
Representative Rudy, Representative Smith, Representative Stevenson, Chairman Meredith.
Yes.
House Bill 554 passes with favorable expression and should to do so on the House floor. That it? Got a motion to adjourn, a second. Everyone have a beautiful day.
That was my fault. I confused you when I did this.
What's
I'm
that?
so sorry. I said I confused you when I did that. Because,
That was deep, man.